Okay, so let's start the session. Hello and good evening to all the founders. My name is Pratyush, one of the managers of ESEL. I hope you enjoyed our last session and the entire 6 weeks program. So, this is our last session before the finale, and it's on art of pitching. So, let's welcome our today's speaker, Amit Sharma. He is the founder and CEO of TISA Consultants, which is awarded as the 25 most promising strategy consulting and sales training companies in India. He is also one of the top sales influencers in India. He has helped over 10,000 sales professionals, entrepreneurs, and 100 plus corporates. It's an absolute privilege to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. First of all, before I begin this session on pitching, what I would like to say to you guys is you guys are now entrepreneur, and I'm actually thrilled here to be among this community today because uh, you are the one who are going to solve the most complex problems for India and this world, and I'm really thrilled. And all right, so let's get started to this wonderful session. Let me first give a quick introduction about myself. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Amit, and I'm the CEO of Disha Consultants, as Anurag would have told you. And I'm also an authoritative selling expert, and Fortune 500 companies like HP or Zebronics, companies like GMR, they hire me to solve their sales revenue challenges and increase their revenue up to 30% in 4 to 12 weeks. That's what I do. And I have been working with entrepreneurs. I have been working with sales professionals all across the globe, mainly in India, but you in US and Europe also. I've been working with them, helping them with their sales pitch, pitching to investors, and pitching to other partners. And that's what I have been helping them with. I have trained over 1,000 entrepreneurs and 10,000 sales professionals across the globe so far. And today I'm going to talk about art of pitching. Now, before I begin and get started with, let me just quickly ask you, what is your understanding of pitching and how do you see it?
Sir, pitching can be of various types. One pitch is of like to persuade someone to buy something,
Mhm.
and in the same way, like other pitching can be of like this business model pitching to the investors to invest in our product, and similarly.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. Coming back to pitching, because it's going to play a big role in entrepreneurs life. Now right now you have you heard of this stats? 90% of startup closed down within 1.5 years. Now this is the number that is not from me, it is from Forbes. And before the COVID actual started, uh, this was the number that was given by Forbes year on year, that 90% of the startup closed down within 1.5 years. uh, that's the stats. Why do you think that 90% of the startups are not able to survive or thrive in this business world? Now this is not because of COVID, it's before COVID, but just what is your take on it? Have you seen these numbers, guys? Now you are going to be part of the entrepreneurship world, and you would be soon pitching your ideas and your vision to everyone. Have you heard of this number before?
Yes, sir. And I think
What?
it's mostly because entrepreneurs do not, at least a significant part of the entrepreneurs do not actually cater to an existing demand.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the most important reason that I know
So
of.
what is the reason that you think that why they are failing 90% of the startups?
I
Is it,
think, sir, the
are you
most,
telling it's a demand and supply issue?
sir, I think the one of the problem why startups fail is that they either they can't sell the thing which they have like produced or made, or another thing can be they don't get that funding and all, which though
Mhm.
their product is best, but then sometimes their product exceeds the technology which is needed now, or it is far ahead of technology or far behind of technology.
Okay. Well, first of all, I really like the answer that they're struggling to sell. But other part, which is a big misconception in entrepreneurs world, is most of the entrepreneurs aim for funding, and they think if you don't have funding you cannot succeed. I'll give you an example of Zoho here. Zoho is bootstrapped. Everybody knows Zoho here, right? It's going to be our next unicorn actually, and it's a multi-million dollar company. 300 million is what their revenue right now. It is from Chennai, run by Mr. Sridhar Vembu, and it is completely bootstrapped. So never look at funding that as a mileage that only it can take you towards success. No, it's more or less like a car. If you have the driving skills, it can make it easy for you to reach your destination. That's all. But funding is not the solution. That you have to get it right, everybody. If you have that misconception that if we don't get the funding, that we won't be able to do it. And that is why I'm here today to clarify that this 90%, when I got this number, I got curious that why 90% of the startups fail, and why there are 10% of those startups which are making big in this entrepreneur world. What are they doing different that they are successful? Because 90% of these startups, let me tell you, they had great idea, they had a great product. It's not that they just made a product just like that without understanding whether there is a need for it, whether it's going to solve anybody's problem or not, whether there is a demand for it or not. That was not the case, because everybody like you are entrepreneurs. Those were the entrepreneurs who actually did well study and figured out the demand is there for the kind of problems they are going to solve, and for that they created a solution. So there was very well demand in it was there, but it's just that they couldn't sell it, because most of them, they were not after the customers. Most of them, they were after the investors. And even those who are after the investors trying to get the funding, they did not do it right. Now this is where this session begins, that you have to be convincing. If you really want your idea to convert into a thriving business or a successful venture, then there are multiple things that has to happen. So it first thing first, you have to remember, it's not only you who are going to work on it. To make an idea or a vision that you have into a successful business venture, you're going to need the hands of multiple people in it, which means you have to convince multiple people. Because remember, you're just selling an idea right now, it's just a vision, and you're going to convince multiple people, and multiple people will make it a successful business venture. So what are those multiple people whom you need to convince and get along with you, who's going to help you in creating this idea into a successful venture? Well, these are the people. So it's not going to not on, only going to be investors. It's going to be your founding member. So when you go out, you would need co-founders. Right now, you might have one co-founder who would be your friend or who is interested in your project. But when you go out and try to turn this idea into a successful business venture, you would be needing founding members, more than one, more than two. You might need some experience. So you go out to people who actually have that experience, and you would like to pitch your idea to them and get them on board. So you need to convince those people. At the same time, you need to convince those people who are called as partners or customers, right? Partners sometimes like as channel partners. So if you're selling a product, they can be your distributor, they can be your resellers, they can be your end customers also, right? So unless you cannot convince these guys, trust me, it's going to be very, very hard. Funding alone or investors alone will not solve your problem. And then comes, let's say you got the funding, you have the partners ready, you're going to need your employees to work on it, and then they also need to buy into your vision. They also need to accept that vision. They also need to see their growth and success along with you. Only then they will tag along with you as a startup, and then they would like to work along with you to make your vision comes into reality, right or wrong. So this is it's not just investor, it is so many people you need to convince. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it's not only about the money, it is about how you can convince these people to tag along with you. How are you going to convince them, right? How can you convince other? That's one one of the major challenge that you're going to face. And that is where this workshop begins about pitching. Why pitching? Because you have to convince so many people to tag along with you, who's going to help you convert your idea into a successful business venture. And 90% of the startups, this is where one of the failing point. So why do they fail to convince these kind of people? Like, sometimes they find investors, but they don't find founding members, or they don't find partners, and they don't find customers. Like, one of the member from the group mentioned that they are not able to find the customers. That is another bigger problem. Why they are not able to convince? Well, uh, why they are not able to convince, the first thing is, because they don't understand into the human psychology, right? That's very, very important, and probably you need to write it down, that it is not about your idea. First, you need to understand human psychology, and this is where I'm here to decode it for you. Let me ask you a quick questions to one of the participants here. uh, See, right now you are an entrepreneur, you are a creator, and you have a creation, right? Tell me, people are more interested in a creator, or they are more interested into his creation when we are talking about anything new that is coming up? Well, let me tell you, most of the people, everybody, including you, including me, we are more interested into the creator than the creation. So if I call you creator, and your idea or vision as a creation, people are more interested into creator. I'll give you some of the examples. So from a regular life, if we take an example of God and the creation world, right? So we are more interested into world, or we are more interested into worshiping God himself? We are more interested into worshiping God, because we are more interested into creator. Let's come back into the business world and take a look at some of the examples. Let's say Apple and Steve Jobs, which is more popular? So if news comes about Apple, or if news comes about Steve Jobs, which one would you be more interested into? It's clearly into Steve Jobs, because he is more popular. That's where our interest lies. Same is the case with Infosys or Mr. Narayan Murthy. So what I'm trying to say here is, it is never about the creation. First, people are interested into the creator, and this is where 90% of those startups go wrong. Their startups, their entrepreneurs, or the founding members go wrong. They never focus on establishing their credibility. They only focus on discussing about their idea, their vision to people, whereas people are more interested into listening to them, into more interested into knowing about those founders, those entrepreneurs, their credibility. They're more interested into the creator. And this is where you have to work on, ladies and gentlemen, where you have to make yourself so strong in front of people that people just buy into you. Very, very important. All right. Now let's talk about another example. When anything new come, right now you're working on a new idea which is going to come into business pretty soon, or you might be already halfway into it. But anything that new comes in front of us as humans, how does human psychology behaves? We need to understand that also. I'll give you an example of again. Let me give you an example of Apple. So let's say Apple releases a phone. Apple is an established company, established brand. Everybody knows about it, and they release a new MacBook Pro or new phone. Then, without thinking, you would be more interested into features and stuff like that. But let us say if a startup comes up with a new laptop, or with a new iPhone, or with any new product, tell me, guys, what kind of questions people will have into their mind before they start buying that product? What kind of questions they will have? Anybody can take a guess and tell me. When any new company and any new product comes from investor side or from customer side, what are the questions they're going to have? Guys, come
To
on,
whom it is relevant to?
I'm sorry.
To whom it is relevant to, like who can use the product?
Okay, right, go ahead. Anybody else wants to take a shot at it?
Team members
Team
who are
members. Okay, close enough. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when anything new comes up to us, like I mentioned, most of the people, or human psychology is such that we are more interested into creator than the creation. These are the questions that people will have. anybody. You take customers, you take partners, and those questions are, can we trust him or her? Because they are seeing you for the first time. Let's say you're going to pitch it to investors. That would be your prime idea. Now, do you know how all this works? Like, how do you pitch to investors? There are multiple ways. Either you go onto those investors websites and fill out those forms with the ideas that you have, or the product that you're working on, or the problem you're solving, and you fill all those details and you send it to them, and then you get selected. But most of the time, how it's going to work is basically they will call you, they will call 10 other startups into the room, and you guys will be given 15-20 minutes to make a presentation to them. And when you make a presentation, it's not just one to one. There will be 10-15 other people from other startups who would be making that presentation to them, and all you will have is 15-20-30 minutes to impress them, to get their attention, and get them interested into investing into your uh, company, into your idea, into your vision. Now, when you are in front of them, these are the first questions. Nobody, like I mentioned, nobody is interested into initially into your creation. First, they will be interested into you, because you're just selling a vision. It's not a complete idea or running business with all operations and everything ready, right? You are only selling a vision, and first they will be interested into, can we trust him or her? Would be the first question. Can he or she do it? Whatever she is saying or whatever he is saying, can they actually do that? And even if they can do that, how he or she will do it? And in the end, why should we join or invest into it? What is that reason? So these are the four common questions that every investor or every partner or every customer will have. And that is why I said more focus on yourself as a creator, then your creation, then you are on the right path. Otherwise, you will end up like giving good presentations. You will think that you have done a good job, but then you will not be part of the team that is selected for investment. That is where most of the entrepreneurs go wrong. So remember these four questions. So remember, you are the product, you are the brand, you are the people who investors are going to invest into. It's not your vision. So first, focus on yourself, and I will slowly, layer by layer, open it up that how you can focus on yourself to make your pitch better, and get attention from everyone and become like a magnet. So let's take a look at it. First, we have established you are the product, you are the brand. You should be working on yourself to make it convincing for everybody. So first of all, you got to be trustable. People should immediately trust in you. When you start talking about your vision, they should trust in you. They should believe in it, that whatever you are saying, that it's going to happen, you're going to solve that problem, that you're actually going to solve that problem and you can do it. At the same time, you should be sellable. They should be able to believe in, and you should be so convincing that people would like to join you, whether they would like to join you as an investor, whether they would like to join you as a customer. And the fourth question you need to answer is WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. So this is the question that you get from not directly, but investors will try to judge what's in it for us. If we put the money, how much money we can get back. Or if you're talking to customers, customers are also going to buy your products or services. When they decide, they will be asking these questions. If I buy this product, what's in it for me? How I am going to get benefit out of it? That is the question. So remember, it's just a 4-pointer for you. You need to be trustable first, that people should immediately trust you. Then they should believe in everything that you say. And then they would like to join you with that idea of like, yes, I am going to get a lot of benefit from if I'm associated with this person, and I should be along with him. And that's how it has to be. So you should be more trustable, believable, sellable, and answering the question that what's in it for me. So where does it start? How can you be trustable? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very important point, your introduction. So when you will be facing investors, when you will be on stage, when you will be talking about your vision and your ideas to them, first it starts with introduction. Now, this is where 90% or 95% of the entrepreneurs go wrong. As soon as they come in front of the investors, this is how they go. I have seen so many pitch decks. I have seen so many those events. How they go about it is, my name is this, I'm representing this company, and this is the idea we are working on, and then this is our team members, and they just go on over there. Now when someone introduced like this, pay a close attention what they are saying. What they are saying is, I am nothing, my idea is most important here. But like I mentioned to you, it's not about the creation first, creation comes second. It is about the creator. People wants to know who is he, what does he do, and why should we trust him, why should we believe in him. So first of all, what you need to do is, your as through your introduction, you need to showcase your credibility, establish your authority over others, and set the right impression. It is very, very important. You see, the beauty about introduction is, whatever you say, people believe in it. Okay, and with introduction only, you can set the right impression about you. Why it is needed to be done, why is it important? Because when two strangers see each other, they try to make an opinion about each other. So when I first saw you, let's say I didn't hear you, but I just saw you, I will try to make an opinion about you through your dressings, through the way your outlook is. I will try to make an opinion, because that is how common human psychology works, right? And when you speak, I will try to make an opinion about that also. And whatever you speak, then I will try to make an opinion about that also. So this is how it works. People make opinion about you, and you want to make sure, if you want people to join you and join into your vision and work along with you, then you need to set this impression right. Otherwise, what will happen is, nobody would like to join anybody who is they don't believe in, who is not convincing enough, who doesn't give a feel that he is important and I should be part of it, or he is working on something important that I should be part of it. So remember that. That's very, very important. Human make opinion about other human as soon as they see them. So remember this rule and write it down also. It's 10 into 10 into 10. Very, very important. 10 into 10 into 10. People make opinion about you from 10 feet away as soon as they see you, the outlook. Then second 10 is when you are like almost about a feet away from me, like 10 centimeters I can say, or about a feet away from me, and the way you look into me, my eyes, the way you shake hands, and I make an opinion about you as well there. And the third 10 is when you start speaking like 10 centimeters away from me, and when you start talking, how you introduce, I make an opinion about you. And that is what I'm talking about. This introduction has to be so powerful that people just trust you, they believe in your authority, and then anything you will say after that, people will blindly believe into it. They will not question it. So how do you do that? Here is a short introduction. Remember my introduction when I gave it to you in the beginning? It was so powerful. Why do I introduce myself like that? So that anything I say after that, people just believe in it. Okay, that's very, very important. So this is going to be a framework I have put together for you guys. Let me just give it to you. The whole idea of this introduction is, it has to be a 2-line, 2.5-line introduction, not more than that. It should be establishing your authority over others, showcasing your credibility, and setting the right impression. That's very, very important. Otherwise, if nobody believes in the creator, I'm not going to believe in your creation also. That's given. And that's how investors see you. So here it is. I have left these fill in the blanks that you can fill. To give you an example, I'll give you an example here. I'm Amit Sharma. Let us say I'm working on a product which is, for example, let's say there is this pollution problem is there that every metro city or every major city in India is facing. So let's say I created a device which is going to solve this problem. So how I'm going to introduce myself on the stage when I'm there in front of investors or people like that, or even customers, how I'm going to introduce. I'm Amit Sharma, an environmental specialist. I'm also the CEO of Disha Consultants, involved in developing a pollution control device to help chemical or manufacturing factories reduce their pollution output by 30% in 4 weeks or in 12 months. Now, when you say these things, it is also organized and sorted out that people will understand your credibility. When you say that you are an environmental specialist, people understand your credibility over there. And when you say you are the CEO of that company, clubbed with that, it is powerful. Then you give an idea that what is the idea you are working on and how it's going to solve that problem and what kind of results people can expect. Then people are hooked. You got their attention, and they will remember you for this. Even if you just deliver that introduction on stage and leave, people will remember you, who you are, what you do, and what kind of results they can expect from you when they get associated with you as an investor or as a customer. Very, very important. You'll have this PVD and you can take a look at it. But remember, you got to your introduction, which most of the people ignore in India. I don't know why. It is such a powerful tool that it can set a right impression and build your credibility and establish your authority over other people, so that you can have their buy-in and they can believe in more in you. They can have more confidence in you because of their credibility and authority. And anything you say after that becomes so valuable that people would like to listen to it. So remember, it's very, very important you work on your introduction and get it right. So when you're there on that stage in front of customers or in front of investors, or let's say even in the marketing events, when you go and attend those events and introduce yourself, everybody, whether it's a crowd of 50 or 100 or 200 or 5,000, everybody should know who you are, what is your credibility, what is your authority, and if I come to you, what kind of results I can expect, what kind of problems you solve, and what kind of results I expect. Right. So based on this, I have put together an elevator pitch also for you. So what is elevator pitch, ladies and gentlemen? So elevator pitch is, let us say you have been in an elevator with the investor, where elevator, it takes about 2 minutes to reach to the top, and you will only have 2 minutes to communicate that idea to the investor or to the customer, that what you do and what problems you solve and why you want to meet him or why you want him to be interested in your idea. Then you have an elevator pitch, which is only just 2 minutes, and it will help you hook anybody. So the first one, this particular introduction I have put together for you. So when you introduced in events where you are pitching to investors on stage, you can use that. And this one, when you are in events, let's say suddenly you bump into any investor, then you should be prepared for those kind of situations. Most of the people are not prepared for those kind of situations, and let me tell you, most of the investors you're going to bump in, it's like that. In some of the events, you just bump in, you're going to get hardly 2 minutes to pass on that message and let him know that why he should be interested and why he should be sharing his card with you and calling you to his office or meeting you. You need to give him some meat that he can come back to you. And this is going to be your elevator pitch. So elevator pitch is pretty straightforward, 2 minute stuff to give everybody an idea what you do. The first 4 lines remains the same what we discussed. The I have done a marking. Number one is your this introduction. Number two, it's going to be, we compete in the growing, let's say we'll take an example of again the pollution control device. So how I'm going to communicate it to the investor if I bump into him in some event. We compete in the growing environmental market, which last year was 300 billion or 300 million value. We are similar to competition 1 and competition 2, but what we are doing is we are able to reduce the pollution twice faster than the other devices that are available in the market currently. Just give me a moment. Yeah, currently we have researched on the idea and the product design is ready, and we are putting together a team of 4 people. We are looking for investors to invest in our idea so that we can take it to the market, we can start selling, and we can turn it into a successful venture. When you do that, people will immediately understand who you are, what is your credibility, shall we trust you, shall we believe in the claims. When you're so organized, people will understand you're thorough with your research, you understand this market, you have done a lot of research, and we should believe in your claim. And then there is a merit in going with you because you are going to bring a lot of benefits on the table. And then people will be interested in you, meeting you, listening to you, and going with you. That's very, very important. So ladies and gentlemen, take this template, you will be given this PPT, and work on it, and make sure you're always ready, because with investors or with these kind of key people, you don't get much time, so you should be ever ready for it. I'll give you an example of everybody knows Steve Jobs here. I'll give you one of his examples. So Steve Jobs was it was back in 84 when Apple was just a startup. It was not a big company. And that time they had funding, they had a board of directors who wanted an experienced person to come and join and run this company, because they thought Steve Jobs is too young, and we need some experienced person to run this company as a CEO who can work with Steve and take this company to the next level of becoming a unicorn or becoming a big company. So the board of the director and Steve Jobs, everybody zeroed in on a person called as John Scully. And John Scully at that time was the president of PepsiCo. PepsiCo in itself was a giant, just like today. It was a giant back then also. They were so influential, so big company that they had a say in presidential elections also. And being the president of the PepsiCo, John Scully was extremely, extremely powerful person. He had the package in like millions, that which was even double the revenue of startup like Apple. It was double the revenue. So he had his private jets, private choppers, and he can land into any country, go on any holiday he likes, and everything that a man can dream of: success, power, money, freedom, everything he had. Now, Steve Jobs was given the job to hire him, to convince him to leave a company like PepsiCo and all their power and money and freedom and everything, and come and join a startup like Apple. And let me tell you, Steve cannot just go walk into his office and meet John Scully. It was not possible. Even companies like news channels like BBC and all has to stand in line, get his appointments. They used to wait for months to get his appointment, to get him on news. He was that powerful. Now imagine a startup founder like Steve Jobs. He cannot get his appointment. It's not possible. So what happened is, one day John Scully, he came for an event, and he was getting down from his limousine car, and Steve knew that he would be there. So what happened is, he was already there. He planned it in such a way that he could reach there on the gate, wait for him when his car will come and stop, and when Scully will get down from the car, he will have about a minute or two to just walk down and convince him on his idea. So he prepared for months for that 2 minutes that he can get with John Scully and convince him on his idea. So remember how much preparation you would have done for it, and remember, you are going to convince a guy to leave his $1 million of package and money and success and power and everything, and come and work for Apple. And he actually did it. He actually did it. He made a statement, and he convinced John Scully. And John Scully, from that moment on, he left PepsiCo the next day onwards and came and joined Apple. And I'm going to tell you what did he say as we unfold all other things. It's going to be very, very interesting. But remember, you should be ever ready with your powerful introduction, and at the same time elevator pitch, because you don't know when you're going to bump into any key person, and you might get a chance to convince him for your idea. All right, pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is the second step. Now we know how to establish your trust using your credibility and using your knowledge, using your introduction. In one word, if I say, how do you establish trust with other people? That is done. Now the idea is, how do you become believable and sellable to those people. Remember, when you're presenting in front of investors, you would hardly be given 15-20 minutes to present, and in that 20 minutes you have to put together a presentation which not only makes you trustworthy, which also makes you believable and sellable, that people would like to come and join you, invest in your idea, whether it is investment of money, whether it is investment of efforts. People would like to do that. How do you turn yourself into a magnet that you just attract money, you attract people, and you attract success, and you attract customers and founders and co-founders and everybody? So these are the four elements that's going to help you. One is storytelling. Very powerful. Human mind is designed in such a way by the god by default that we only understand stories, right? If you're gonna, there are so many things. If I say that unless you put your ideas into a story, there are so many ideas that people are roaming with. Ideas are dime a dozen. I'll tell you, nobody is interested into it because they are not able to communicate it in such a way that people relate to it, connect to it, and they would like to be associated with it. And only storytelling has that power. So we will discuss how we're going to use storytelling as part of our presentation and hook everyone. So one is storytelling. The second is, like I mentioned, it's focus and your enthusiasm, because you are the creator. People are interested in you, and you have to be interesting for them to be interested in you. Okay, you have to be interesting. I'll give you an example also, right? Nobody you know how many people are interested in other students who are too studious, who stay inside the house or inside their hostel room, and then they just study and do stuff like that? How many people will be interested in them? But then you have guys who is outgoing, who does parties and go to parties and do parties and stuff like that. People are always interested in him, right? But that's how human mind works, that's how human psychology works, that you have to be interesting to attract people. We'll take a look at that. And the third element is what, who, and how. Like some of you said, the team members, and you have to tell like demand and supply and stuff like that. That's where it comes from. What, who, and how. That your presentation should address that part also. And finally, the revenue model. How, what's in it for me, or how you are going to make it a money spinner, that everybody gets benefit from your idea, from your vision. Like investor gets their return on investments, they make money, customers make money, or customer get benefited, or partners and founders and employees get benefited. How would you answer that question? In this case, we will stick on to investors because that's where you'll be more focusing on. So how would you communicate to the investors that you have a money spinner, and that if you invest in this idea, you yourself will be making a lot of money? So it's not me, it's you who will be making money. So how do you communicate that people actually believe in it and you become sellable? All right. So four elements. Remember, write it down: storytelling, focus and enthusiasm, what, who, and how, and the revenue model. I'm gonna just discuss on it one by one by one. I'm just gonna need another 20 minutes because this is the key part, other than your introduction. Okay. So you got to stick with me. Right. Let's start with now. As soon as you go on stage and investors are sitting in front of you, and you have 15-20 minutes to communicate about your idea and convince him to invest in your vision, first you're going to start with authoritative introduction and get their attention and become trustworthy, that people start believing in you, they start trusting you. After that, you tell them a story about your idea. It is called the hook. Imagine, if I have to put it in terms of movies, imagine it as a trailer, right? Now, what is the rule of the trailer? In trailer, you would like to get people hooked into the idea without telling what actually it is. So let's say in movie, there is a movie that comes out, like let's say there is a hero and he is going to do a robbery of 2000 crore, and it's going to be a high-tech robbery that people will see in the movie, a very high-tech robbery of 2000 crores. Now when the trailer comes out, everybody is hooked. Now they didn't tell anything about how the robbery is going to happen and what are the steps involved in that and stuff like that. They just released a trailer to create a hype about the movie, and that's what you got to do, because that's how human mind works. Unless in the first 1 minute after your introduction you don't give me something to which I can stick to and that gets my attention and gets my interest, I am not interested into your presentation. And this is the part where entrepreneurs making a pitch to the investor lose most of the time, right? Why only few investors are getting, a few ideas are getting funding? It's because of this reason, that first 2 minutes are critical after your introduction, and you have to make a full use of it, and only a hook with storytelling can help you. Imagine it's like a trailer of the movie, but let me just give you some more example. uh, let us say in terms of the pollution control device. I gave you that example. I'm giving this example again and again so everybody can easily understand it, relate to it, and it serves as a very good example to explain concepts. So talking about the same concept of pollution control device, and let us say I'm in front of investors and I am making my pitch to them, and this is how I'm going to start. What I'm going to say is, let's say investor name is say Mr. Srinivas. Okay, Mr. Srinivas, uh, are you the owner of the company? Right? Have you created a legacy for you? Right? He'll ask, yeah, I'm the owner of the company. Do you have kids? No, yeah, I got kids. I got 2 kids. So what is the legacy that you're going to leave for them? Now you have created this big company, big venture, you have amassed a fortune for yourself. You're going to leave this as a legacy for your kids, right or wrong? Yes, I'm going to leave this as a legacy for my kids. Now imagine if the kids that you're leaving this legacy for which you are working so hard for the rest of your life, and you have put everything, your time, your money, and everything you have invested into it to create a legacy for your kids. But when your kids grow up, they're not interested in it. They just leave this country and settle into Australia or US just because the air in India is not breathable. It is full of pollution and it's killing them. So they just leave everything behind and go and settle in US or go and settle in, let's say, Australia or Europe. What's going to happen to your legacy? All that you have worked throughout your life will go completely waste. Would you like to, would you want that to happen? Would it be a thing that you would like to get or you would like to see in your life? Now, what is the possible answer they would give? No, I would not like that to happen. So you see, unless we solve this problem of pollution and make this air for our future generation breathable, everything is at stake. Everything that you have worked for is stake. Our future generation career is at stake. Future generation is at stake. So everything is at stake. And the only thing that can solve this problem is if we control the pollution. And that's what we intend to do. We intend to control this pollution, bring it down to a level so that we can give our next generation a breathable air, and this could solve all our problems. And they stay here, they flourish here. This is how I'm going to start my pitch. Now, you tell me, guys, if I start like that, would that guy be interested in the idea of listening it? Or would that guy be at least hooked, you can say, or would that guy or would that investor be actually interested in this? He would be, right? Why? It's because I made him realize what is at stake from his side and how grave the problem is and why it needs to be solved. So that is called the storytelling, and it has 3 elements: the setup, the struggle, the solution. Okay. Remember, whenever you are doing storytelling in the first 2 minutes and making a pitch about your vision, it has to have 3 elements: the setup, the struggle, the solution. Before I explain this, I'll give you a couple of other examples which actually happened and you will be able to relate to it. What do I mean by that? Now, one rule of storytelling is, when you're doing this, the hero is not you. You are just the narrator of the story, okay, of your idea, of your vision. The hero is actually the opposite person, whether it is your co-founder you're trying to convince, whether it is your investor you're trying to convince, or whether it is your customer you're trying to convince. He is the hero, he is at the center of it, and all that story is about him and his problem and his solution that you're going to bring to the table. And then only people are interested into it. If you're going to just bluntly say this is the grave problem we are trying to solve, nobody is interested, because that's how human psychology works. Like, how many people today are afraid of COVID? You see, so many people are going out, so many people are roaming without masks, so many people are roaming without social distancing. Politicians are doing rallies, and people in lakhs are joining it. People are not afraid of it. Why? Because the story that has been told to them is that COVID is just a normal flu. It will come and it will go. And that's why people are not afraid of it. That's how it works. Human psychology completely works on storytelling, and based on that they form their opinion, and once the opinion is formed, based on that they take the decision. So if your story is not able to form that opinion, you will not have a decision. People will listen to you, people will appreciate your idea, but they won't invest, they won't join you unless you make it all about them. Okay, so let's understand these elements, and I'll give you some very good examples also that happens in real life. Okay, first is the setup. The setup is the context of the story. The context of the story start with a problem. So people use different ideas to tell that story or create the context. There are a couple of examples like guerrilla marketing or dramatic pull. I'll give you an example, then you will understand better. So first is let's say an example of paper boat, the company paper boat, which makes those juices, yummy. I'm sorry, yummy juices, right? Have you heard of it? Yeah, fantastic. All right, let me. So Paperboat, when they were making a pitch to the investors, and they were on the stage, they were given just like other everybody, and you were also going to get 20 minutes they were given. So what happened is, as soon as the founder of the Paperboat, they were on the stage, investors were sitting right behind before them. So they said, okay, before we start our presentation, let me get you a drink. And he ordered the drink, and I said, the drink is coming. And he asked the investor, by the way, what kind of drink do you like? Do you like those drinks like from the childhood? Amras, do you remember that? Where mother used to go out and used to select the mangoes. She used to go to the vegetable market and select the mangoes and get those yummy mangoes and bring it, then take the juice out, and you used to drink that juice. Do you used to like that juice? They said, yes, of course. It used to be the best one. Do you miss it? Yes, we do miss it. Okay, enjoy your drink. I got you the armrest. This is the armrest we have made, and tell me if the juice's taste is similar to what you had in the childhood. And then when they drank that, they loved the taste, and they said, yes, it's exactly the same, and we loved it. And then the founder explained that this is our idea. You have so many millennials who love these kind of juices from the childhood, like amras, like neem khatta, those kind of jaljeera that we used to get that we don't get right now. And they have been working so hard, making so much money. And what is the point in getting so much success and money when you cannot have the drink that you enjoy the most? And that is what the idea we are working on. And we're going to come up with these pouches and bring all the millennials and the generation before that. We're going to bring these juices to them, and we're going to make sure that they can live those memories and they can enjoy it. When they told this is called dramatic pull, where you showcase to people in a very dramatized way that people relate to it, and then you explain the problem, and then you explain the solution. I'll give you another example that you would have even seen. When you open Tata Sky and you get those ads keeps running, that is the first channel that comes up, right? You guys remember that? Give me a yes or a no. Get those those ads, they keep selling this stuff, right? Yeah. If you would have paid attention to them, you would have noticed when they are selling things like t-shirts, they will try to, stretch it and show you how reliable it is, and it's not going to tear apart. Or when they're selling those let us say washing machine, washing powder, what they do, they're going to take a t-shirt, they will put all kind of muds and stains and tomato ketchup and everything on it, and then they will show that they'll do that washing, and they will show you how clean without stain it will be there. This is all part of dramatic pull, what you call, where you show people actually then telling, where you show and make them realize the problem as well as the benefits in the same act. And that's called dramatic pull or guerrilla marketing. I'll give you another idea. There was this one adhesive gum that one company was selling in US, and they got a chance to be in front of the investors. And what they did is they took a gold coin, and used that adhesive, and they stuck it to a board on a plate, and they went in front of the investor. When the turn came, they went in front of the investors, and they said, investors, please sir, you can take this gold coin. If you can take it, it is yours. And then investors tried and tried and tried, but they couldn't get it off the plate. And then finally they told, you see, previous adhesives that are available or gums that are available in the market, they're not as good as this. You could have got that coin if you would have used those adhesives, but our adhesive will make sure that everything sticks properly the way you want it. And that's how they presented their idea, and they won that event, and they got the funding also. So this is how it goes. You have to, you should stop thinking in those ways where you will just go in front of the investors and explain what you're doing. Rather, you show it to them. Okay, so that's very, very important. So this is called dramatic pull or guerrilla marketing. This is how it works. Now the beauty of this is how you can make use of it in an effective way is by asking audience questions. Like I gave you an example of pollution control, where I asked them the questions and let them answer it. Okay, and then what is the role? You need to showcase the problem, right, through your dramatic pull, through your guerrilla marketing, or whatever. Even if you're explaining things, by asking questions, you need to make people realize the problem. When an investor realizes the problem, then he will be interested in a solution, and then he will believe in the idea, and he will make a opinion and take a decision on it. Otherwise, what would happen is everything sounds good, but nobody is interested. To give you an idea also, like environment is such a pollution is such a grave problem today that it can wipe out the entire population, right? But how many people are serious about it? Because the way it is explained to people, you have the scientists coming up and giving those statistics, like we have particles 3.5 mm and 3.7 mm, all those kind of technical language they will speak. Nobody understands the value of it, nobody understands the threat, nobody understands what is at stake, and that's why people are not serious about it. But when you show someone, let us say there was this company in US, how they made their pitch to the investors, they made the investors sit, and they put a glass next to them. Now it was a clear see-through glass. Basically you won't see the glass that it is there, and behind the glass, now this company was into making bulletproof or break free glasses. Okay, that's what their product. So they made this glass, they put it next to the investors were not aware of that glass, and then couple of people on the other side, they came and they start shooting on it, and investors felt they are going to shoot us. They immediately ducked down, and they got afraid. But within just a couple of seconds, when they realized it's all happening and the glass is taking the bullets, then they got up and they started clapping also. And that's how it was introduced, that this kind of attacks in US can happen anytime on anybody, so you should have these break free glasses. And that's how they made their pitch. So this is called dramatic pull, where you make people realize the problem with some sort of act or by asking the right questions. What is important about storytelling is, or the hook is, you are not the hero. The hero is the investor, or the customer, and everything revolves around it. Okay, you have to make it his problem, not your problem or not somebody else's problem, because nobody is interested in someone else's problem. Everybody is interested in their own problem. So you have to make that problem, whatever you're working on, as his problem, showcase as his problem. And when you are showcasing it as his problem, make the problem sound big for him, right? Like in terms of pollution, I connected it to legacy that he is working on. Okay, like in terms of paper boat, they connected it to their childhood memories, and that is important to people. So like that, you have to make it sound big for them, and then you explain the problem, and then you give the solution, and then anybody will be hooked, interested, and they would like to be connected with you. It's as simple as that. Okay, remember, so these are some of the elements of the story, and you will become a master storyteller. Now storytelling, it doesn't mean you tell stories. Basically you make people realize the problem. All right, so after the introduction, after your authoritative introduction, you're gonna go in a 2 minutes storytelling mode, and where you're gonna use either through the questions and make people realize the problem, or through a dramatic pull, or what they call it, guerrilla marketing. You're going to do something that people realize that problem, and then you explain the problem, and then you tell them the solution. Now what is important here, one thing I want you to understand is, when you're asking someone questions, don't let them answer it. It's very, very important. Okay, you need to give options and let them choose from that option. So they will feel that they have answered the question, but they actually didn't answer the question, they only chose the option. In case of a paper boat example, so when the founder of or the entrepreneur asked the question to the investor, what is your childhood favorite drink? Now, if he would have left it there and simply asked this question, what is your childhood drink? He could have also said Coca-Cola, Pepsi, right? If he said Pepsi, then everything go for a toss, and then you will not be able to get your presentation back on track and connect it. So it is very, very important that as soon as you ask a question, you don't let them answer it, you give them choices and let them choose from it. How the founder did, what he said is, what is your childhood favorite drink? Do you remember the drink Amras, where a mother used to go to vegetable market and get mangoes and prepare the drink for you? Then he chose and said yes, because nobody will say no to that. It's everybody's memory, right? So they worked on it behind a scene, they worked on it a lot of preparation was done, that you also have to do it. But once it has to be done once, and then it's going to be a win-win for you. You're going to stand out among all the ideas other investors or other entrepreneurs would be pitching. You're going to stand out because of these reasons. All right, so remember, when you're asking those questions, don't let them answer it, you give them options. Like in my pollution example, I asked them, what is the legacy that you're gonna leave for your kids, and is it that you have built such a big empire and you amassed such a money or fortune that you would be leaving as a legacy to your kids, right? So remember, the question that you're going to put it in such a way, giving options, that the answer should be either yes or no. Okay, and most of the time it should be yes. So prepare your questions very well. All right, moving on. The next thing is, after authoritative introduction, you make your hook with the storytelling technique. And then what is more important about storytelling is your plot that you create, the trailer, as in movies that you create, is important. At the same time, your focus and enthusiasm is very, very important. Remember, I told you, people, nobody will be interested in that student who stays inside indoors and just keeps studying. Nobody will be interested in that. Everybody is interested in the guy who is outgoing and who is doing interesting things. So you have to be interesting. Okay, and how you become interesting is when you don't talk about yourself, or how your idea is, rather you make it someone else, the opposite party. In this case it will be investor. When you make him the hero and create entire story around him or her, then you become interesting. That is the laser focus. Focus only on problem, make it his problem, and the solution that you are going to give should be his or her solution only. And second thing is, keep maintaining that eye contact, keep asking those questions. That engagement should be there. Otherwise, if it becomes a one-sided conversation, and once it becomes a one-sided conversation, after 2 or 3 minutes people stop listening to it. Their mind will be somewhere else. This is how human psychology works. So if you want people to be interested in you, you have to be engaging, okay, asking questions. And the enthusiasm, the energy that you're going to show when you're talking and doing all these things, it has to be like high power. It has to be infectious, that people should feel that enthusiasm, people should feel that energy, and then they also get excited. Once they see you excited, they get excited, right? So that is the key, right? In our group, when we have a friends group, there will be someone like that, who is so outgoing, who is so energetic, who is always so enthusiastic into everything. Most of the people will like him only, or her. This is how it works. This is how common human psychology works. So you have to be that kind of a guy. All right. Now, the third part of it is, what you would be doing is, in your presentation, when you're in front of the investors, you would be answering what, who, and how. Now, they need to know, they like you, they trust you, they believe in your authority, everything you're saying. You got their attention with your hook also and storytelling. Now it's the time to explain them how you're going to do it and what is it in there for them and why they should be interested in it. So what, who, and how. So what is unique about your product or service? The value proposition. Value, that's what they call value proposition. So what is so unique about your product and people should be interested in it? So as soon as you finish your storytelling and you give the solution that we are working on this kind of pollution control device, now you have to tell why this device is so important, or what is so unique about this device, whom you are targeting, and how you are going to target them. As simple as that. Who is the target audience? The target audience has to be very clear and defined. So you cannot say we will be targeting all the people, like in case of Paperboat, they said we would be targeting all the millennials and a generation before that. They clearly defined it, that our drink is not for baby boomers or Gen Z. It's not for them, because they will not understand the idea, because they're already into too many drinks. There is Pepsi, there is cola, and there is stuff. But someone who is a millennial and come from that generation, he will understand our idea of this drink and he will relate to it, and we want to sell it to them. So who has to be clearly defined. Like in case of, if I'm selling a pollution device, I should clearly define that my target audience is chemical factories, manufacturing factories in Delhi or in Mumbai or all the places. So it has to be clearly defined. Then people understand it. If you're going to say that it is for everyone, then nobody is interested, because they know that you haven't done the research, you're not ready for it. Okay. And how you're going to do it? So you need to explain how the product comes out, how you are going to take it to market and start selling it, which is going to be your next point. Yeah. So how you're going to take it to the market and how you're going to make it money for you and for the investors. That's what they're interested in finally, right? What's in it for me? And this slide will answer that question, that what's in it for them, how you're going to take it to the market, and how you're going to make it make money for them. That's very, very important. They're just interested in that. So let us see what are the things that you need to answer in this slide. First of all, you start with the market size, which is on the right side, top right, market size. So what is the size of the market that you are actually targeting, right? For example, in the case of the Paperboat, they said we are going to target the millennials. We are going to go in the first 4 major cities, and in that millennials are this much as per the reports you give, or you do that research, get that data, and use those organization names so that it sounds authentic and people know that you have done research. So you tell these many number of millennials are there in Delhi today, this is much they invest on their drinks as per the data, and we are going to go after these millennials and we plan to sell these many drinks. So you give them the idea of what is the market size that you're going after. Okay, operating basics. Okay, so you are going to target the millennials. Okay, who is your target audience in millennials and how do you tend to make money in it? So what you're saying is basically how you're going to reach out to them. So there are multiple options. You can reach out to them through supermarkets, you can reach out to them through the multiplexes, the hotels that we have, right? How you are going to take it to them, or you can open your own stores, right? Paperboard could have done that, that they can start opening their own stores in each city, in each area, like McDonald does, like Domino's does, right? Through franchise or through anything. So how are you going to take it to the market, and how are you going to sell it to the target audience? So Paperboard, they clearly said that we are going to take it to the supermarkets because the millennials, they are already into well settled jobs, and this is where they shop, this is where they buy their drinks from, and we're going to take it there. So this is how you explain that, how which channel you are going to take to reach out to your audience. Okay, and then you talk about the competition. So what is that competition that exists, and how you're going to plan to take that competition? Who is your strongest competition, who is your weaker competition, and how you plan to target them? Like in case of paper boats, the Pepsi can be their competition. They clearly said that we might not be able to target multiplexes because that's where the Coke and Pepsi and Thumbs Up, these kind of drinks are strong because they go along with all the snacks like samosas and popcorns. So we might not be able to, strong there. So we will stick to supermarkets. That's where our drinks will sell well. And in terms of targeting Pepsi and Cola in supermarkets, we will release similar flavors also, so we can get an edge over them. So that's how they explained it, and that's how you need to explain how are you going to target that competition so that you have an edge, then you look prepared. Okay, now the final one is what are the costs involved in it. So you need to work out that number also, because investors from the top, they want to know this. Now you don't need to go into fine details into it, but you need to give them the idea, like uh, first 1 month, how much time it would take or how much money it would take for you to bring your product to the market. Like first 1 month we sell to plan we plan to sell, let's say 50,000 drinks in Delhi, and that will give us this much money, and to do that we need this much investments in terms of operations, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of all other miscellaneous costs. So you need to give that ballpark figures to them. Okay, and then within 6 months we plan to make we plan to sell 500,000 drinks in Delhi. That will make us this much money, and this will be our cost. We will be able to cover our investments, and this would be the return on investments or profits we are looking to make. So you need to calculate those numbers and let them know the ballpark figures. Now, you don't need to go into details, but you need to still give them an idea that how much investments we are looking in the first 1 year or in the first 5 years. Those milestones should be there. You should talk about the key product launches, the dates when you will be launching. Now, it can be random dates like within 3 months, within 6 months. Okay. And you can also share your results from the beta users if you have done that. So that's very, very important. Now, once you have these in place, this completely answers the question, what's in it for me, and when I can look at getting my money back and how much money I can make from there onwards. See, people are interested in that. Unless you answer this question, then investors won't be interested in it. They would still treat it as you haven't worked it out, you're not ready for it, you've not done your research, and God knows if you will be able to do it or not. You remember those first four questions? So it all goes and links back to the same thing. All right. So here is your 10-minute pitch timeline, 10 to 20 minutes it should take to make your presentation. First, you're going to talk about, after your authoritative introduction, you tell them the problem as a story, then you give them the solution, then you take them into highlighting what, who, and how, and you talk about the revenue model. Thereafter, revenue model will include talking about your customer acquisition strategy, your competition strategy, your funding, how much is needed, and how many rounds of funding is needed. You can cover all that. And once you do that within 10 to 15 or 20 minutes, you'll be able to wrap a power packed presentation that will position you and your idea as a magnet, as a money spinner, and people will be interested in investing in it, associating with you, like, sugar attract ants. That's how they will come. And then you should be able to, you'll build your successful venture, you'll build your successful business out of it. Remember, it's not about just funding, it's about convincing people. And people can get convinced only if you're convincing enough, only if you're authoritative enough, only if you're brand enough that attracts money, investment, success, everything. With that idea in mind, ladies and gentlemen, just to summarize what investor wants to know from your pitch deck, it's the market size, it's how you're going to tap it, how you're going to reach your audience, right? They're going to want to know how much journey you have covered so far. Like, are you in the planning phase, or are you in the developing phase, or are you in the market ready phase? They want to know that. They want to know competitive landscape. This is the most important piece of the puzzle, because investor doesn't want a situation where you go out in the market and then you realize there is already a stronger competition, or you are not able to take it to them, you're not prepared for it, and then you lose. So investors will never like it. And then funds needed and how much allocation needs to be done, at what stages needs to be done, so they are prepared for that also. All right. So and the product presentation, pain realization, the dramatic pull, the experience, they should feel the problem and they should feel the solution is much needed. So these are some 6 pieces. If you're going to put them together, like I mentioned, you are creating a money spinner for them and they will ever be interested in it. With that idea in mind, I complete my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you have any questions for me, you can ask it now. Okay, you prefer to type? Okay, okay. No questions, sir. Very informative session, 100%. Okay, thank you very much, Gaurav. Others, it was really great session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nimisha. Thank you, Meenal. Thank you, everyone. Great session, sir. Thank you very much. I'm more interested in if you have any questions. Yes, you forgot to say what job say to pitch Scully. All right. Okay. Very good. You reminded me. That shows, Minal, you were listening. Thank you very much. Okay. So there it is. So he had only 2 minutes. And in that, he said, as soon as he got Scully was, the limousine stops, Scully comes out of it. Now, Scully was being faced by a lot of media channels. Everybody was surrounding him, and they were like, just wanted to get one word from Scully so they can run it on news channels. And Steve Jobs was behind the media, like it was a big crowd. So suddenly he wade through the media, like he just do like this and then get through it, and he jumps in front of Scully and say, John, just 1 minute. I want to talk to you. I am Steve Jobs. He gave his powerful introduction over there. And then he said, I have just one question to ask you. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world? So that's what he said. And once Scully hears it, he left everything the next day and went on to join Apple. Now, It is called something as making someone realize within just 2 minutes that he what he is doing is insignificant, and what he should be doing should be a big thing. Okay, so Steve Jobs worked on it. He questioned himself, like a person like John Scully. What could I say to him that he will leave his existing job, which is so important, so powerful, and come and join a startup? He thought for 3 months that what kind of these kind of powerful people, what they would like, what they would want to do. Now you cannot buy them, attract them with money, because he's already earning twice the revenue of Apple. You cannot offer him a big position. He is already into big position. I mean, being a CEO of a startup, or being a president of PepsiCo, which one is bigger for him? That one is much bigger. So you cannot attract him with money. You cannot attract him with position. You cannot attract him with any other perks. So what these people will be interested in? He thought, and it took him 3 months to understand that these kind of powerful people are only interested in the next big challenge for them. That's what they are interested in. That's what excites them. That's what attracts them. So he actually worked on his 2 minute sales pitch, and he went in front of him, and he said it in such a way, like PepsiCo, he said, do you want to sell sugar water? Like, it's such a small thing. He made it sound so insignificant that John would have thought, yeah, really, all I'm doing is just selling sugar water. And then his venture, he made it sound like so big and exciting, like, do you want to come with me and change the world? So that's what his was. That was his storytelling that he did, and through question he did it, and he did it so beautifully that Scully left everything and joined. He was the first CEO of Apple. So pretty interesting, and so much learning in that how you basically convince people, how you go out and convince everybody that people just wants to come to you and work with you. You have everybody has those magnetic powers, and it all lies in communication, how you communicate your ideas and visions. Okay, any other questions? All right, over to the organizers.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for such an interesting session, and thank you all the participants for joining. So we will be sharing all the details regarding the finale in a few days. So thank you.
Sure, and you will get a copy of the presentation. My team will send it to you. My team will send it to Anurag. You can take it from Anurag. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful having you with me today. I really enjoyed it. And see you soon. All the success to you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.